Jersey craft beer.
Oh my gosh, we are live. I know everybody's excited. It's another Monday night. Oh my gosh, Mark, for a second. Yeah, but unlike the last couple of these live conversations, tonight I have 3 breweries that are in the process of starting a production facility in our state. So that's pretty cool because, you know, aspiring home brewers, aspiring breweries that want to kind of get off the ground. Plus, we have a interesting approach here with Ross Brewing. So going from a contract approach to a production facility in Jersey, it's going to be pretty cool. So you guys are in for a treat. If you tuned into the live, what was the podcast called again that we did, John?
Oh, when you were on Point Blank?
Yeah, Point Blank. Yeah, so if you tuned into that, you know that sometimes John likes to talk about movies, which is better than me talking about music because that seems to be what happens pretty often anyway. But so yeah, with that being said, let's introduce everybody. So John, tell everybody who you are and what you do, and I'm gonna hit it all up here.
Sure, Mike, and thanks for having me on. Thanks for having all of us on. I'm John Ross Kokoza. I'm the founder of Ross Brewing. We got started a couple of years back, as you alluded to at the opening of the show. You know, contract brewing. We're gypsying it right now at 5 different locations throughout this state and in New York as well. We started actually selling in New York before New Jersey. Just because the licensing came in a lot quicker in New York than it did here in New Jersey. And we were in a unique opportunity to use that. So we started selling in New York in December of 2019. We were able to do our full lineup launch here in New Jersey in October of 2020. And during that time, pretty much concurrently with the pandemic, we've been building our facility in Middletown, New Jersey. We expect that construction to be done in May, and when we open, that'll be up to the state.
Well, yes, it's always up to them, and I think you are going to be the first brewery that is like on the water, right? Like the.
So far as we know, yes. Ross Brewing's facility, we are located on the water. It's a river in Middletown called Compton Creek, and that's on one side of us, and on the other side is the ocean, Sandy Hook Bay, and so we've got a 150-foot dock, and we have the ability for customers to take their boats and tie up right at our tasting room. And again, full disclaimer. New breweries are opening all the time. The 3 of us here on the on the show included, but as far as we know, we're the only waterfront brewery, in New Jersey or New York, for that matter. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's
great.
Cool. And speaking of water, the people over there from Royal Bine, Atlantic County. That there's a big body of water there, but it's also an ocean, but
I'm like a big water.
Yeah, I don't know how much water you're going to be near, but tell us who you guys are over there at Royal Bine and say hi.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Kenny Ward, founder with my daughter from Royal Bine Brewing, and we're going to be down in Absecon, New Jersey, and yes, surrounded by water, but we're not on the water. And John, I'm real jealous because that sounds awesome, dude. But yeah, we're close to the bay and Flaunt's Landing, which is a cool little dock that you can go out of, views of Atlantic City, not from our tasting room, of course, but it's right there. So we're looking to do some good things in that town and kind of get ourselves stamped and do some things locally with all the businesses. It's exciting for everybody. So we're looking forward to it, and hopefully by the end of this year we can get our doors open finally.
I hope so.
I'm Royal Bine's brewer. My name's Will Mink. Been a part of the New Jersey beer brewing industry here for 7 years now, and my family's from the Jersey Shore. I was living in Philly for a while, and when Kenny approached me, I knew this was it. I wanted to be back here. So we've been fighting. We're getting there, and I can't wait to be back on a brew house making beer.
And this is Will's say goodbye,
And that brings us to Tony from Gearblock. So tell us about yourself and things like that.
Glad to be on tonight. My name is Tony Romano. It's myself and one other founder, Ron Cavalieri. He's actually my uncle. He was unfortunately not able to be on tonight, but we're looking to do something in a county that's very hard to brew beer in. I mean, Bergen County is pretty tough right now. All the breweries that are located in our county are located on the southern portion, where there's a lot more industrial space. So we're up north, very right in the middle of the community in Waldwick, New Jersey. We still have quite some time until we open, but we're real excited, and we just want to be very community oriented in that area. So,
yeah, that's great. You're in a strip mall kind of shopping center? Yep. Is that
strip
cool?
mall? I mean, we tried to get into a bunch of different places, and we kind of settled on something a little smaller to start. And as the time progresses, and we'll see how everything works out, and maybe we can move into something a little larger later on.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of approach to, a lot of it right now that's happening. It's like you got to find the space, and you're right. There's nothing north of Hackensack,
no,
which is sort of halfway up in Bergen County. So, and of course Hackensack has 2 breweries, but with that being said, in the small, in the different spaces, it's the first strip mall shopping center brewery that would be in Bergen County, I think.
Yep.
So that's cool. That's great. I think we should for sure talk about the different beer approaches. We can start with John at Ross Brewing, because they've already been making a bunch of beers, and so what is your approach to beer, and is it going to kind of change as you get your own production space?
And Mike, that's a great question. The initial approach to which beers we put out were the beers that for the most part I'd been home brewing for the last 15 plus years. And so where do you start out? There's a certain kind of beer that you like, and you're like, can I reverse engineer that? Can I figure out how to make something like that? And then, even if it's hugely commercially successful, then you're like, well, can I do it better? So usually maybe not, but you can certainly do it differently. And so all of our, initial lineup, our Navasink IPA, which is sort of my ode to the West Coast IPAs that I got started with, the Stone, the Ballast Point, the Lagunitas, that kind of stuff. Our Shrewsbury Lager, which, I was aiming right somewhere in the 3 sort of craft lagers that really started me on this journey. How many years ago, right? Sam Adams Lager, Brooklyn Lager, and even Yuengling Lager. And so, although we maybe threw a little Neshaminy Creek and Lager too on that one, but so that was sort of the initial phase. Right now, I bring on Dan, I bring on PJ, and now we've got 3 brewers collaborating and spitting ideas off of each other, and in-house trying to outdo each other with recipes that are going to be loved by the team. We just brought on our 14th team member, and so it gives us a great in-house audience for testing our recipes against. And so we made a conscious decision. I did to not have any of our first dozen beers be a hazy New England, which I love. I mean, I love to drink them for sure, but I wanted to prove our bona fides first in terms of establishing ourselves with some other styles that we were really into. And now that we've got that first dozen out, I think either beer number 13 or 14 is going to be our first New England hazy. And then, there's probably going to be more of those once we open as well. Right now, it's all about fighting for tank space at the various different contract breweries.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, we're at 1, then 2, then 3, now 4. And we're always looking for more tanks. So it's tough. But that's where we're looking forward to getting open, because then we can really do what we want.
Yeah, and what size brew house are you guys going with, at this point?
Sure. So it's actually a dual system. It's in parallel, a 15 barrel and a 3 barrel. They share the same hot and cold liquor, the same heat exchanger, and there's some efficiencies there. So sort of what I'm thinking with this design is the 15 barrel fills 15s and 30 fermenters for distro, and the 3 barrel system fills 3s and 6s for the tasting room to be like a little more nimble and responsive to what people want in the tasting room without having to brew 30 barrels every time.
That's great. So we can switch over there to Royal Bine. I know you guys you had a couple of different things happen in the past where you lost the space and things like that. Now with the new space you have, what's your approach to size and beer and things like that from Royal Bine?
I'll start and then I'll hand it off to Will on the actual styles that we're going to concentrate on. But yeah, I mean, our building, we went from a very 5,000 square foot high ceiling building. Wow. And that fell through. So we decided to look at what's called an old hardware store on downtown Absecon. And it's very thin and long, and the ceilings are 9 feet tall. So that's our challenge. So 8 and a half feet in a brew house.
You're getting smaller by the second here, Ken.
Oh, when I tell you, we looked at it and we fell in love with it, but we're also like, wait, what are we doing with this? We got to blow off the roof and all that. And financially, we couldn't do that. So we're just going to have smaller tanks and more of them, and just add as we can with the space that we have. And then we're going to play it by ear from there. But I mean, I personally, as a non-brewer, right, I drink pretty much IPAs all the time, And when I met Will, I said, Will, what do you want to do? And he could take over the reins. And he convinced me that we're gonna shift gears, and I'm okay with that. So,
yeah. So I've always kind of been. It's the way I was trained, but I'm a big believer in having something available for everybody. Because you're gonna have people dragging others along who may not know that they like beer, and you want to have something that's accessible. So, I think we plan to have a variety of things, but my passion is lagers. They've always not only been my favorite beer to drink, but I love brewing lagers. I love, watching them mature and taste testing them every day, and taking that journey through the fermentation with lagers is just so fun and rewarding. So I think we will focus quite a bit on lagers. I think finally people beer fans are finally realizing there's a lot more depth to the lager. It's not just a light beer. There are so many different styles of lagers, so many different things you can do with them. And I really look forward to being able to show people the diversity of that type of beer. Of course, as Kenny said, IPAs, everybody loves IPAs. So
no lactose.
We'll be brewing those too, but I plan to really focus on the lager side of things.
It's I think we might have talked about this maybe every single episode I've done so far. It's just every brewery is like, yes, lagers, pilsners, they're lagers, pilsners, lagers, pilsners, saisons. Okay, and brewers are, and then the consumers don't realize how much they actually fucking love lagers until they start realizing that X is a lager, that this brand or this can, this bottle is I'm like, yeah.
Listen, you grew up drinking lagers. That's all you had. You had Budweiser, and then you went to Corona, and you went to. I mean, it's a lager or some type of.
Yeah.
Well, a fancy lager time, Heineken.
Yeah. Yep. And I still love a good Heineken. It's got to be cold, but I still love Heineken Light.
I mean, these beer trays, if they're any indication of certain beers I like, I mean, there's a champagne of beer up there, but you know what I mean? Like it's definitely a beer drinkers like it, and they just don't realize it. So, I mean, yeah, for sure, IPAs and like Tony, I'm curious on what your approach is also, and the size. I mean, also in terms of like the tank size too. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
We're gonna fit a lot into nothing. That's the key here. That's okay. So it's a retail space, right? So we have to get creative. We have 200 amp 3-phase power in this unit, 1,500 square foot unit, and it's been unmolested. It's the same tenant has been there since it actually opened in the early 90s. So the panel's perfect. There's really nothing going on there. It's a cinder block building with steel, trusses. So I have 12-foot height. So we're going to stack fermenters, and my big ass, 6'4", is going to climb a ladder, and we're going to go up there and we're going to pour hops up top, and we're going to make it work. So we're, it's a 3.5 barrel system. So it's a combi tank. We're going to have a 7-barrel hot liquor tank, 7-barrel mash tun. We want to go big because I love my big beers. So we're oversized in the hot liquor tank. We're oversized on the mash tun. We have the hot liquor tank's gonna be electric with 3 elements that can be turned on and off individually. And then the boil is gonna actually be indirect fire. And the reason being is the electric, right? So now I can double batch if I need to. So we want to make sure that we have the flexibility to do double batches at a later date. It's going to be 5 fermenters and 1 bright, and they'll be stacked. So, and it'll all be along a line on a 24-foot wall. Awesome. It's going to sit there, and the cold room is going to be in the production area. We're going to have to stack kegs 3 high, and we're going to, we're just going to, it's going to be 6 stills and quarter barrels, and we're just going to, we'll have room for a couple larger tanks as time goes on. But again, we're not, we're looking to do something different all the time. And that's the name of the game with us. We're going to start with the classic styles out of the gate, right? I mean, nobody wants to brew a New England IPA on the first week and then, have that on tap on month 2 of the last, when your last beer is ready to go and you're open, right? Have a 2-month-old New England IPA out there. So, obviously we're going to have to play around with the schedule and when we're going to brew what. But the other thing is that we have to work with the water that we have. You guys are lucky down in South Jersey. We're not so lucky up here. We're off 5 town wells. So it's municipal, but it's well water. So we're going to make a killer dark beer. And I love lagers, and unfortunately with the tank space, we'll have some lagers, but it's not going to be something that, we don't want a fermenter tied up too long with a lager. So we'll probably go the Kolsch route, right? Do some Kolsches. We'll do some, hey bud, we'll do some, kettle sours. We'll get into the souring. We'll do some barrel aged stuff. But again, with the 3.5 barrel, 105 gallons, it's really, we can play around with a bunch of different things.
How about your filtration? You got some filtration you got to deal with?
Yeah. So what's nice is the town I live in right now, and that town kind of have their same Newark aqueduct. So it's the same aqueduct. So this town as well also. So I've kind of been rolling with I was homebrewing with a lot of RO water, but again, in a facility that size, I'm not going to have the ability to create all that water that I need. So we're going to have a catalyst backwash filtration system, and we'll start with that. We'll check it, and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah, awesome.
But listen, I've been brewing with this water, and I've been brewing multiple styles, and we've been doing well with it. So it can be done. It's just we're just gonna have to get very creative with it.
I'm thinking the name Tony too. It's a cool name.
Gearblock.
Yeah,
I'm a car guy, so
there you go.
A lot of our beers are going to be named after car salesperson lingo. So
Oh, that's neat.
and a lot of it's going to be car names, and it's so yeah, we're just gonna. It's not
Rust
going to look.
proofing?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Rust proofing.
Rust proofing, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever we got to do. But when you walk in, it's so we're not going to be you're not going to walk into our brewery and see a checkered floor. I guarantee that. So we're not going to go that all out.
And John,
you should name a beer after my Prius that has 270,000 miles on it.
So go forever.
It will.
And you're not a taxi driver, so that's great.
I know. I feel like it sometimes with the people that live upstairs, but it's but yeah, no, for sure. No, that's a really cool approach. I'm glad to see that you guys are ready to roll with your different approaches to the beer, and it's cool. Like yes, everybody loves IPAs, specifically like the hazy ones right now at this point, but there's nothing better than a West Coast IPA, that's for sure. And I miss them. I see them coming back all the time now, which is like double thumbs up for everyone making them again, because that the dankness that went away for a while turned into like substitute with like lactose kind of thing, which was it's cool. Like I like them. My fridge is stocked with them. I have all the kinds, and then as soon as someone releases a West Coast, I'm like, yep, on the shelf, go get it, more and more. Same with the Pilsner game, and things like that kind of stuff coming out. It's great to see it. So it's a cool thing there. What's the ETA for? I know you guys kind of at Gearblock just signed your lease and whatnot. So what's your estimate of when you're gonna try to open?
I'm not going to be one of those guys like, oh, we're going to be done in 6 months. You'll see. No, we're going to probably be done if it all goes well in a year.
Awesome.
It's we have the building. We've been in the building. We start demoing. We're just waiting on final drawings for the interior. I kind of know who we're going to use already for plumbing and electrical and construction. It's just we just need to take one more look and hopefully get some other opinions. And then make the final decision and start rocking and rolling in the next couple of months.
It's great. And I know John and at Ross Brewing, you're shooting for the summer. So
yeah, we, like I said at the open, we think we'll be done, with the construction on our end probably by about mid-May, maybe Memorial Day at the latest, which kills my plan coming into this year was Memorial Day opening. That's not going to happen. But
yeah,
we received our right boiler a couple weeks ago. Our glycol chiller is coming this week, and then week of April 12th is the brew house and all the tanks. So once that gets in, probably another month of finished work after that, and then we're done in May. So if things work out, I'd like to say we'll have a July 4th sort of opening, but you never know. My buddies up at Bolero, they were ready for probably months, and when they finally got that approval, it was December 29th, like maybe like the worst possible day. They're like, if we're opening, man,
yep.
When you get it, it doesn't matter what it is. That's when you're opening.
Yep.
So
yep, and exactly, yeah, because you never know what could come through, and again, you got to wait for the state. So I know. And what about you guys there, Kenny and at Royal Bine? What's your?
For about a year now, we've been saying about a year, and so I'm gonna go with the year.
Yeah. We're hoping by the end of the year, but
we're pretty much in the same spot with Tony with
Yeah.
you guys down at Gearblock or up at Gearblock. same deal. Like we've had the building for a hot minute now, but we really did kind of take the last year off. Like as soon as COVID hit, we were like, all right, let's pump the brakes on this project for a little while, just because of where we were at within the process. For us, it didn't make sense to like continue to forge forward for a few months there. So, now we're definitely back in. We have, our GC that we're communicating with, and hopefully we can get some building updates done. The building does need a lot of work as well. Some demo work, and then, about a year.
Yeah, it was funny. We had Billy and Joe from Ludlam swung by last week. Will knows them very well, and they came by nice enough just to, put their eyes on the building. And Billy walks in, he goes, "Wow, this is awesome." He goes, "But man, you got a lot of work." And I'm like, "I know, man." I said, "We know." He goes, "But he just liked the vibe of it." And that was, you want to hear that from a guy, but it's just a lot of work. So it is what it is, man. I mean, like Gab said, we've been paying rent since last January. So you know what? We're at the point of bleeding cash. Is not even. I'm just tired of talking about it. We just got to forge ahead, and whatever we paid already, that's gone, and we just got to move forward. I ain't bitching about it. Let's just get open. Let's have some fun and get in this game, and it's awesome. Great people.
Yeah, but as much as it sounds weird, I don't want to have a startup list anymore on my site. I just want everything to be open. But there would be no open list if there was no startup list.
There'll always be startups coming.
Oh,
I
always
want to
be
ask
startups.
a question, Mike, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Tony, talked about Gearblock. So for Kenny and the gang, what's Royal Bine? Where's the name come from?
We love this name. It came from, we were actually hop picking. My dad and I both worked for Ship On a Brewery for a few years, a little while, and there's a really great hop farm in Colts Neck, which is
the fur farm.
The fur farm, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
There,
great guys.
With Bob and Mick, and we were picking hops for a wet hopped ale that the brewer at Ship On at the time was going to do, and we kept saying vine, like we're going to go like grab some of the vines and pick them off the vines, and eventually, the brothers who own Fur Farm were like, "You're saying it wrong. It's a vine." And we were like completely mind blown. It was like 100-degree day. We were like half a beer in each, and we're already drunk because the sun and everything.
I actually lost weight.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to go up there next time then. Okay. All right.
I have a membership there. It's not working.
Beautiful.
And Bine just kind of stuck with us. The whole concept of Royal Bine, royal not at all in the sense of like we feel like we're regal or anything like that, more just like royal in reference to great ingredients, fresh ingredients, that homemade local vibe. We would love to use hops from the eastern side of the country as much as possible, as local as possible.
And we came up with a tagline, "You're worthy." Gab actually thought of that, and not royal, like you're worthy to drink our beer. No, it's you're worthy to drink any beer. You're worthy to have a bear. You're worthy, like go
come
get
home at the end of the day.
So
Crack a beer.
that's where it came from, John. Thanks for asking, bro.
No, of course, man. I love it. I was wondering about the royal aspect of it, but now I get it. I've been over at the Fur Farm for a few of those hop picking days, and one I remember was particularly unexpectedly like drizzling, misty, rainy, which was really great because it kept me from getting too overheated, like it sounds like Kenny's describing. So, but no, they're good guys up there. My kids went to school with their kids too, and they've got they came up with a really good pivot early on, when they realized the whole Christmas tree thing, and 10 years ago there were 5 breweries in New Jersey, and now, Mike, how many do we have now?
Like 130.
So the hop need has been rising. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, and they do, and they're doing a lot. They did a lot with especially when they had their dry hop season and everything else. They would invite all the breweries over to come pick and hang out and try their home brews and everything else, and pivot that into different batches with various breweries. And on NJCB, there's the list of all the hop farms I know about on the resource there, and I have like the only malt farm listed there, and things like that. So it's pretty cool to be able to see even these small breweries or small hop farms and smaller breweries using certain batches. I remember back in the day there were some, big batches of certain things, but it's also difficult to get certain amounts of volume at this point with the hop farms being, under 10 years old in Jersey. There's not many that are over 10 years old, and they need some maturity to them for them to be a sustainable thing. But it is awesome to be able to buy local, at least for 1 or 2 batches a year, regardless of sort of where you live, because hops grow like crazy on the East Coast, especially, in the Garden State here. They do grow like crazy. You just need the space and the height.
Where's a good area, Mike? And you would know better if there's any hop farms up that way. There should be. If there's not, is the northern part of the Delaware Valley, where you've got some vineyards going on both sides of the border, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. That sort of fertile soil. Usually, if you can put a vineyard up, it's going to be good for hops too.
Yeah, I think there's a handful of them. They're smaller. They're
Warwick has some.
Oh, Warwick does? Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Right across the border there. There's more. But yeah, it's cool. It's definitely cool. I'm pretty excited. And I love the logo too, with the little hop cones on the top of the of the crown.
Yeah,
pretty
another
cool.
guy, when we were doing our branding, another guy made that for us. And then we switched gears to another place. But we love that one so much. I called him up and said, "Can we keep your crown?" And he was cool about it. He's like, "Of course, man." He goes, "I had to go through here, so whatever." So we figured something out, but we just wanted to keep that, and then we filled it in a little bit. But thank you, it's cool. But John, getting back to branding, we take pictures all the time of cans and labels and all that stuff as we start this process. And your branding's awesome, dude. Seriously, John.
Oh my God!
And I'll tell you why it's awesome, because it's clean, it's easy to read. Like I'm older, right? So I can't see shit. And so when I go up to the beer refrigerators, I need to see what the hell I'm going to buy. Or I don't want to read. I don't want to read a story. I don't want this funky funness. Yeah, I just love exactly the pills.
That's the one coming out this week. The Shark River Pills.
Yep. I saw it on your website. So I said this, and they got the white can, and I'm like,
oh yeah, the ice. Ooh, all right, Kenny's in on it. Okay, here we go. Here's the ice.
Ice boat is.
Oh, that's great.
That is awesome. Seriously, I'm all about branding, because that's a big part of your business, right? The name and the brand. And
we could all be making great beer, and if nobody knows about it, they're never going to pick it up. Right. So thank you for the compliment. We've got a good team. It's something I've kind of honed in on right from the beginning. When I had the business plan, go back to 2015, before I had a property, before we had beers, before I had a team, I just had a plan and what I wanted the beers to look like.
Right.
I knew the recipes were already. Now I knew what I wanted the packaging to look like. And that sort of clean approach is what I felt worked best for me. Whereas, look, there's everything under the sun with craft beer packaging. And some of the most beautiful art you'll ever see is not going to be like on a digital what are they now? The NFTs, the non-fungible tokens that are selling for $30 million. No, but you can see it on craft beer can art that's just as good. And so that's part of what I love about it. I may like this approach, and somebody else may like a completely different approach. And there's room on the shelf for all of us.
Oh yeah, there's definitely room on the shelf. And I saw the logo for Gearblock as well, and it's looking good. Obviously, you don't have cans or things like that yet, but
it's only obviously privately.
The label is it's looking good, but and with your size of your brewery also, like, you're not going out of the gate production facility.
One label.
Yeah.
To start.
But it's nice and clean, and I think you're right. The branding is as the branding makes everything too, right? I had this conversation with Neshaminy Creek when I did the live with them a couple weeks ago, or last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago. And they talked about how they are rebranding everything next year. So they're spending the next year. They already know they're rebranding. They love their art. They've changed it a couple times, but they've rebranded multiple times in their 10 years. But for their 10th anniversary, which is next year, they will be rebranding again. And I started thinking about how many times I've rebranded NJCB, and I'm like, oh yeah, see this little banner thing that I flip on and off? Like, there's the circle version, there's the non-circle version, there's the rectangular version, and there's the, it's been the same core thing, but yeah, you have to refresh or because it gets boring, but not every 2 days, but at the same time, like I love the fact that like artwork and labels and has a quick and easy description for things like, like the ice boat, like it says exactly what it is on the art and on the label. And it's like, perfect. It's a winter warmer with cinnamon and winter spices. Done. Perfect.
Well, Mike, we got to put you to work, Mike. I love it.
Well, that beer put me to work when I had a shovel that day. That's for sure. And I actually think I finished my last one at 3 a.m. a couple weeks ago. So, which is also not a beer to drink at 3 a.m. Just throwing it out there. But
that point is hopefully knocking you out. But
yeah.
At Mike, I got to give you credit too, though, with the team you assembled here today, because you've got North Jersey, you got Central Jersey, we've got South Jersey, you've got the whole state represented here.
Yeah,
it's true, and I've been trying to do all these. So like when people are like Kenny and I were talking, he said, hey, why don't we talk about one of these with me? I'm like, sure, of course. And then I realized it's not just fun with like one person and me or whatever from my team. Like having multiple people spanning across the place and having multiple like personalities come through, it's really cool. And I love these conversations. And I love
and different sizes. We got a small, medium,
totally
and large.
different sizes. Yeah, it's totally true.
Too small. Tony,
not 3.5 though.
I think and a medium. I think that's as far as I would go as a medium. There's some big boys out there.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
There are.
If you want to get, we'll get there. But right now, like you said, man, we gotta take our lumps early and just deal with it and try to keep the expenses as low as possible.
That's all you can do. I mean, can I offer this, Mike?
Please.
What the guys were describing, we're going through the same thing. We had our first lease in place in 2016 in Red Bank.
Yeah.
The building was perfect. It was standalone on a pad at the Red Bank train station. So in the evenings, unlimited parking.
Right.
In a town where you can't get parking. Yeah. And it had 3 huge bay doors in the back. And on its own lot, it had 37 spots. It was a taxi company for many years. Mm-hmm. And huge 14-foot ceilings. If I could have designed it, this is what I would have designed. And we had a good lease with an option to buy.
Right.
And when we were going through the loan process for some of our equipment, they actually insisted, even though we weren't buying the property, but because we had that option to buy, they insisted that we get some environmental testing done. And he refused. And that was the first indication something was off.
Yeah, right.
And as it turned out, it was a taxi company. They've been dumping oil back there for about 187 years. And it just had seeped into all the pipes and everything. So we got away from that building.
You'd be making a lot of stouts.
Yeah. Then we moved on to another building in Red Bank that I think a lot of people still identify with our brewery, which is a historic firehouse in Red Bank. Mm-hmm. We had signed that lease. And it was exactly what you're describing, Tony. This was 1,700 foot in a railroad capacity with 0 potential for expansion. The property was contiguous with the building. I had 6 inches of clearing on every side and the back. So you knew from day one there would never be an expansion plan in place. Right. And that said, we got smaller equipment. We kind of configured everything. And we said, okay, it's going to be a much smaller tasting room than we initially conceived of. And even after the state had made that special ruling 2 years ago that now food trucks are allowed, but at the whim of the municipality, and Red Bank came right away and said, no, but it's not going to be allowed here. Right. And also we had no parking and all this other stuff. There's a lot of challenges, but we were going to go ahead. And after 2 years of having signed the lease, the landlord hadn't broke ground yet on getting us that vanilla box building he was supposed to get. So I had an out clause after 2 years. I didn't want to exercise it, and I did not want to give up being in the center of downtown Red Bank with foot traffic all over, movie theater on one side, Hobby Masters on the other. Gave it up, and then largely because I saw this property in Middletown. That's only one town away.
Right.
Clearly, I was honing in on Red Bank. We went to Middletown, but the opportunity to be on the water and the opportunity to own the property. So we're hoping for us third time's the charm. And well, it better be. I mean, we closed a year ago, right? So, and Kenny's like, he likes that water. Well, he doesn't. I don't think he's gonna like the flood insurance. But
you know what? Again, we talked about it working for Ship Bottom.
Yeah.
Sometimes you couldn't get to work. You know, when the island flooded, it flooded. I mean, you were done. You know? You just wrote off days of not anybody getting there unless they lived there and they walked to the brewery with their pants up. Honestly, that's how bad it was.
I'll tell you one thing. When I saw that, though, it is awesome, though, being on the water like that. I mean, I if I was, if I was going to go to a brewery and I saw that, I'm there.
Well,
especially if you got a boat.
And I want to see you there. I want to see all you there, and we'll get together. We'll brew something for NJCB on our system, and it'll be all.
Yeah. That would be ideal. Breweries.
Yeah, it sounds fun to me. I like collaborations.
Yeah.
Right? Aren't we? There's a whole bunch of people listening. Don't get your hopes up. There's not a handful of NJCB collabs coming out this year.
John,
don't stay tuned.
Are you right off of Route 35?
Actually, right. We're not far from 35, but we're much closer to 36.
Okay, I gotcha. I know exactly. Okay,
36 is around. We have two neighbors on this peninsula that we're on.
Right.
One is the Belford Fishing Co-op. They catch seafood that day and they sell it that day. And let me tell you, in the last year and a half, I've learned a lot of the salty fisherman lingo from these guys. I mean, one's got one leg. They're real pirates.
Right.
And
come in with a bag of scallops for $30, and he can walk through your brewery. He'll sell them all.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll let him do it. Right? We can't sell the food. Yep. And then the other neighbor is the C Street fast ferry to the city.
Yep.
Okay. So, one thing that we, have an eye towards doing, obviously we've got to be open and the beer's got to be flowing, but, we can even throw advertisements up in the city. Hey, take the boat down to the shore, but your first stop when you get off the boat, Ross Brewing, you're right there.
Absolutely.
Advertise on the ferry too.
And here's what you want to do: get a liquor license on the C Street. I mean, you know how much Cape May sells their IPA on the Cape May Lewes Ferry?
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah,
it is unbelievable, man. And it's an hour and a half trip across the Delaware. And
I've taken the ferry to the city, for work, for the day job, and they've got an okay selection of craft beers. It could be improved maybe with a little Ross, but the thing is, they closed the bar completely in 2020 for the pandemic. Yeah. So we're hoping it gets open, and then we'll do our best, obviously, to get on there. We're going to be good neighbors. We've been good neighbors to the co-op. They've been great neighbors to us. Right. All good people, but. The only reason I tell you all that is because whatever space you've got, right? We reconfigured our plan 3 different times because we're always like, okay, this is the space. No, this is the space. You're always going to find a way to make it work. Right. And that adds to the ingenuity and the differences that make this a great industry.
And then currently with the pandemic and all the ways that things are changing, everyone, even the ones that have been in production for years or a year or half a year, they're changing their game plan, their floor plan, their everything every single day. Because,
adding outdoor space, whatever they can do.
Yeah, adding outdoor, adding indoor, outdoor, adding. Right. Now I saw Departed Souls spent 8 hours in his facility trying to figure out how to get 5 more seats in because he was allowed to go up by 15%. Which is 5 more people, but that means reconfiguring that space to move the stuff away. Right. To be able to not have to do it every 3 days because, okay, you're brewing Monday, Tuesday, but you want to be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's kind of interesting. And obviously getting dynamic and getting fluid with all the different things is also, the ingenuity is amazing and the creativeness is amazing. So our brewers are more than just, brewers nowadays. Everyone is interior designers, decorators, planners, furniture movers, logistical planners, you name it. And it's kind of awesome because, it's cool to see all that stuff. And a lot of the guys and girls are working together in the different capacities to help each other out, like I've seen people making furniture out of scrap wood for one brewery, bringing it to another and things like that.
You love to hear that. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So, I want to thank you guys for coming on. And if you have anything to say on the way out for everyone else,
Cheers.
now's your chance. Maybe Tony, tell everyone where you can find your website, and then we'll pass it on to the next.
Yeah, so it's gearblockbrewing.com, and it's under construction. Obviously, that was kind of the start of it. It's going to change a lot. We just have something, that's just a placeholder right now. And follow us on Instagram at Gearblock Brewing. That's where you're going to find all the newest info.
Excellent.
Thank you.
That's awesome. It's a great
go for it, John. John, your turn.
Sure. It's rossbrewing.com has the beer finder on there. We just crossed 120 accounts in New Jersey this week. We're at 40 accounts in New York. And I'll just share this news. I just shared it this week. Is we signed with Taproom in New York. It's taprm.com. So it doesn't exist in New Jersey, and under our current laws, it's not going to exist. But in New York, anyone could go on the site, pick any of our beers they want, plus some other beers from some places like Other Half or whatever. But pick some beers, and wherever you are in New York, it's guaranteed next day delivery. So it's kind of cool. On Untapped and Instagram, we're getting check-ins from like Buffalo and Albany. It's just crazy. Rochester, it's where I went to school. Like, you're seeing people with our beer. So, at Taproom's always like, oh, we're coming to New Jersey next. I'm like, yeah, good luck. But but in any event, so yeah, and of course, Instagram is where we post our daily updates. What the new beers are, where the new places are. We post construction updates once a week. People love those. I mean, I'll just take one more second, Mike. This past Friday, we put up our outdoor cold box at the site, 20 by 30, 15-foot tall ceiling, so we can get 3 pallets stacked. And we're like, this is great. We assembled 15 guys. We're going to bang this out in no time. We picked the windiest day of the year. So when you see it on Instagram, it's only going to be the after. You're not going to see how I put a panel up and the wind knocked it down. I put it up, the wind knocked it down. Somebody should have recorded all that. We could have won a comedy award. But and the last thing I'll tell you is our newest beers that are out. It is the Shark River Pilsner. Will, it's our 3rd lager out of the first 12. Okay?
I'm going to go to the beer after this. I'm going to find it.
There you go. Listen, we love lagers too. So we got our Shark River lager. We've got our Meet Me at the Snack Shack Session IPA. And we've got our Brooks Royale Belgian Chocolate Stout. It's our first premium bottle format. It's also our biggest beer at 12%. So those 3 are the 3 newest releases. And I would just say, anyone, follow the Instagram. You'll see the updates. And hopefully I'll be able to welcome all of you here this summer.
Yeah, I can't wait, bro. We'll be there.
Awesome.
Awesome. And then Royal Bine, tell us where we can find you guys.
royalbine.com. Also, actually, royalbinebrewing.com and Royal Bine Brewing on Instagram. Just like Tony, we're under construction still. The website actually just right now, it's only featuring a picture of the old hardware store that we moved into with the couple from, I think the picture was taken probably.
Well, that's them. It's Howlett's Hardware.
80s.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So it's like a vintage photo, and it's the building bare bones as it was, and pretty much still looks like today. And we'll be posting on Instagram as soon as we start construction. We have the Instagram at Royal Bine Brewing. Follow along. We haven't posted yet. Like I said, it's been a few years in the making. So the right moment's coming. As soon as, we start busting down some walls, we'll be updating constantly.
Hey guys, you only get one chance at a first post.
I know.
So
I haven't done it yet.
So we it's so funny you say that, because we've been talking about this for so long. We sometimes we get tired of talking about us, and we're not anywhere closer than we were a year ago. That we feel anyway, and we made great strides. but we just don't want to over promote, and we're still a year away. It's kind of weird, you know. So doing Vic's basement thing, I mean, we had so much support on views on that. It was out of control. And I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to keep these people. We really don't want to say much more because number one, there's not much more to say. But we also want to post when we have really good information, not just a simple update or something like that. You know,
totally hear you. And Mike, this will be the last thing I promise. And I'm never in a position to offer advice to anybody.
Oh, John.
But in this one case, I would. I started the Ross Brewing Instagram in probably 2017, and we didn't really start selling till 2019, and we weren't even open yet.
Yeah.
But what I could tell you is, if you take time and you don't have to post every day, but if you find the right content, nice images of the beer, you guys working, glistening bodies in the shop, whatever it is, we just crossed 26,000 followers, and so when we did launch, there was almost like a pre-built-in recognition of who we were. So now transitioning, now I'm out there on the road trying to sell the beer to bars and restaurants and liquor stores. And you find that people are like, oh, I already know you guys. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Kenny, I agree with you. But I will also say, don't wait too much longer. You got a year to go. You want to start building that pre-hype now.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm just, like I said, there's just so much out there, and I just want to do the right thing and not over promote and like come to us. I mean, yeah, we want that, but we're also
the biggest post I had with the most reaction was the sign. And the only reason why I put the sign up, because there's nothing done inside, right? It's just a sign. But I didn't want it to say Eddie's French Cleaners.
No.
Okay, that's why I put the sign up.
People excited, Tony. People love to see that.
Yeah,
they know the progress is coming.
Tony, it's so funny because we have two big like picture windows in the front of the place, with the door in the middle. And I got fitted signs and I glued them up on the window. Royal Bine coming fall 2020. Well, here we are approaching fall 2020. So I was there the other day, and Billy from Ludlam's like, dude, just scratch off that
0.1.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sad.
Make it look even more professional.
Yeah, it's so sad, but whatever. All good.
It's not sad. No, everyone understands.
I know. We laugh.
Yeah, you gotta get it out there for people, because they're gonna hear about you now. Then in a couple, like obviously I'm posting and reposting this video, but then in a few weeks you might disappear a little bit, and then I bump it back up. All of a sudden, more numbers. I mean, our Instagram, for example, NJCB Instagram, I started it. I don't know, 5 years ago or so, 6 years ago, and it was not that popular. And all of a sudden, like, we started posting and reposting other people's things, and now we try to do it as much as we can and like share everything we can through the stories and whatnot, and it just works. People start following along. Our Facebook group that everybody's watching currently is more than half of the members are part of the Facebook group. So it's really cool to see like the different loyalty that people have to the brands, and humanizing. That's the important part, right? So putting a face with a name and a name with a face, and a beer afterwards, and in the middle of all that, like it's really cool to see that stuff. So, but yeah, thanks again, everyone. I appreciate y'all coming on and
doing what you do, Mike. Keep the good fight going, bro.
Yeah, we'll keep doing it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Good luck, everybody.
Have a good one.